Bird. They said it couldn't be done. They said you couldn't fill up the BOK Center. They said it wasn't possible. But yet if you look, it appears to be full. Oh, we're making America boom again.
Very full.
Very full. Lots of marketing, courtesy of John Kelly and Devin and
graphic design. If you need some coaching, your salespeople and call scripts, PR, they offer all that.
Your teeth, you just do it because it's part of your identity. It's who you are. If you want to be consistent, you must approach your habits the same way. Working on your goals is not optional. Training your body is not optional. Sticking to your commitments is not optional. You don't do it when it's convenient. You don't do it when you feel like it. You do it because that's the standard you've set for yourself. The biggest mistake people make is relying on willpower. Willpower is unreliable. It fluctuates. Some days it's strong, some days it's weak. And if your success depends on how much willpower you have in the moment, you'll always struggle to stay consistent. The best way to eliminate the need for willpower is to create systems. Systems make success automatic. They remove the friction between you and the action you need to take. They make it easier to be consistent because you don't have to think about it. You just follow the plan. A system could be a set time every day for your most important habit. It could be preparing in advance so that taking action becomes effortless. It could be tracking your progress to reinforce your commitment. Whatever it is, the goal is the same. Take the decision out of the process so that consistency becomes natural. Another secret to consistency is low.
Clay was instrumental in helping guiding us and getting us on the right track so that we could really raise the bar and become ultra successful.
Lowering the barrier to entry. Most people set themselves up for failure by making their goals too overwhelming. They tell themselves they need to work out for an hour, write for 3 hours, or make huge progress every day. But when life gets busy, those expectations become impossible to maintain. Excellence is not about going all out. It's about never stopping. Even if you only have 10 minutes, do something. Even if you're tired, take some action. Even if you're not at your best, keep the streak alive. Because the moment you stop completely, it becomes easier to quit. But if you keep the habit alive, no matter how small, you maintain your momentum. Consistency isn't about perfection. You will have days where you slip up. You will have moments where life gets in the way. That's normal. What matters is that you get back on track immediately. Most people let one missed day turn into a missed week, then a missed month, and then they're back at zero. But the ones who master consistency, they never let one mistake break their momentum. If you want to build relentless consistency, you must hold yourself to a higher standard. You must see yourself as the kind of person who follows through no matter what. You must make your habits non-negotiable and remove the mental debate. And most importantly, you must keep going, even when you don't.
So it's been an amazing experience for us.
Excellence is not an event. See results right away.
One of our accountants had said, you've got to meet this guy, Clay. So we ended up meeting with Clay, and he's helped us go from right before we opened the 3rd location now to 6 locations. And so we've more than doubled our revenue. And these are ground up build gyms. And so it's not, the barrier for entry is pretty high. It's 20 plus staff at each location. So yeah, it's been a lot as far as running systems, checklists, workflows, who does what, when and how, training us on that. Clay's helped a ton. We would not be where we're at without him. So huge win.
Charles, from an ROI perspective, if someone's going to look at it and go, return on investment, I pay you $1,700 a month. Will I make more money than I'm paying you? How would you maybe tackle, or how would you respond to, what kind of return on investment have you seen for the $1,700 a month you're paying?
Well, for example, Clay has got there's no better business coach in the world that has the way he works, the way his mind works. But he's also got a team of other business coaches that have worked in lots of different industries. So he's worked in every industry. His staff has worked in every industry. He's got videographers, web designers. I mean, just for the fact of like just the website alone is worth the 1,700. Just the ability to take any of their proven systems, whether that's a marketing thing or whether that's a staffing thing, like one thing done in the month it pays for itself. And then to understand this, there's a part of where, some week you may be like, well, you know what? I'm not getting a whole lot out of this call. But the bottom line is, it's like when you read the Bible, there's times you're just reading it and then you're like, you know what? And then you read it that one time and it's like God really speaks to your heart.
It's a lifestyle. It's not about a single moment of greatness. It's about the quiet decisions you make every day.
And the whole truth is, it's like there's no way that you can get that kind of value for $1,700 to have a whole team of coaches, graphic designers, web developers, anybody that has that type of knowledge, in your back pocket. And then and the whole thing is run your business with being somewhat conservative. Make sure you don't run it to the edge all the time. But by doing that, you have that skill set. You have those tools on your tool belt. Yep. And I just think it's just like the cost of doing business. Like just understand it. That's what
I think there's sometimes the payment we make, I feel like, is peace of mind, even because there have been multiple times throughout the years that we will either be butting heads on something. We're super confused about something. We're fearful about something in the market's changed, and it's a quick call to Clay.
Well, Thrive Nation, it's a very special occasion because a lot of times on the Thrivetime show, I get to interview people that I am friendly with or have an acquaintance with, that kind of thing. And I enjoy that. But it's really an honor whenever I get to interview someone who I consider to be a friend or people that I consider to be friends of our family. And it's awesome when we can celebrate a success story because it's a life-giving thing. And for somebody watching today's show, if you feel you need like a checkup from the neck up, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you don't have the resources to get started, but you have the resourcefulness, maybe today's show is the show you need to hear because this is a couple. They started this business together out of their house, and they've now grown it into a multi-million-dollar, super successful company. And I've had the opportunity.
The small choices, the consistent habits, the standards you hold yourself to when no one else is watching. That's where real excellence is built. Most people believe succeed
to work with them in a consulting or coaching capacity over these past 5 or 6 years. And I am so excited to have them on today's show. And with that being said, Amber and Charles Cola, welcome on to the Thrivetime show. Amber, how are you?
Great. Thanks, Clay. It's awesome to be on here with you.
Yes, we were excited.
Okay, so I got to ask this real quick because people think you're a hologram. How long have we had the opportunity to work with you, or how long have we worked with you guys together from a kind of a coaching relationship?
We probably started back in 2017. 2017. Yep.
So yeah, we're looking at 7, 8 years.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
coming up on 8, probably. A little over 7.
And from that time, I mean, you guys have experienced tremendous personal growth and business growth. I mean, could you, Charles, maybe talk about, I'm not looking for your specific financials, but could you maybe talk about maybe the size you guys have grown over these past 7 or 8 years at colafitness.com?
Absolutely. Yeah. We started off, we were getting ready to open our 3rd location, and one of our accountants had said, you've got to meet this guy, Clay. So we ended up meeting with Clay, and he's helped us go from right before we opened the 3rd location now to 6 locations. And so we've more than doubled our revenue. And these are ground up build gyms. And so it's not, the barrier for entry is pretty high. It's 20 plus staff at each location. So yeah, it's been a lot as far as running systems, checklists, workflows, who does what, when, and how, training us on that. Clay's helped a ton. We would not be where we're at without him. So huge win.
Now, I'm going to ask you guys this story because I want you to be able to encourage somebody. I'm not sure who's going to watch this show, but I view every show as
success is about talent or luck. They think the people at the top have some kind of special advantage, a gift,
a message in a bottle. So somebody's watching this show and they're going to relate to this story. I'm going to let Amber go first because I think she'll maybe have a less rosy view of how it was. But you guys started colafitness.com doing personal training to individual clients in your actual home. So like your living room was where the squat rack was, or the bench press was in the kitchen, or Amber, what was that like when you started colawfitness.com?
Well, I think when you're starting something like that, you don't see bigger picture. You're not thinking that far ahead. You're just kind of thinking you have to work, you have to survive, you've got to make money, you're doing what you love. And so with that, it was kind of more as a survival. And also, we couldn't afford furniture to go in our formal living room and formal dining room. And so we were kind of stuck in a situation where Charles needed a place to train and he had a full clientele. And so we just were, well, why don't we find like a big universal piece, stick it in the living room because it's just an empty room. And the dining room became more of the office. And so we bought a big universal piece and threw down some rubber flooring, ripped up the carpet and put some big mirrors on the wall. And we just started doing what we needed to do at the time with I definitely did not think it was going to be in my house for a couple of years for sure. But
yeah, a lot of it was fear of failure. I was like, I want to make sure that, I can provide for my family. And we were trying to just
Head start, better circumstances. But that's not the truth. The people who achieve lasting success, the ones who rise to the top,
every lead I had, I'd follow up with every client I trained, want to make sure that I gave them good results. And next thing you know, we have about 160 clients coming in and out of the door a week. And it's me and about 4 or 5 other trainers training out of our living room. And so it became a revolving door of fitness. And then Amber also did some hair. So she had a hair salon in the back of the house. So it's like a training studio in the front of the house and then a hair salon in the back of the house. So yeah.
Now,
the win.
Now, I want to share this story because I don't know if I've ever shared this story with you, but I think our listeners need to hear this because your story is better than mine. But let me just show this to the listeners real quick here. If we go to 111th and Memorial in Tulsa, Oklahoma, my wife and I, we were 20 years old-ish, and I remember I was so excited to be able to build our house. I remember telling my wife, honey, we can afford to build a house. We are going to build a house, a brand new house. She was so excited. I remember we were driving down Riverside. She was like, we're going to buy a house? I go, yeah. She's like, we're going to build a house? I'm going, yeah. We're young couple. We'd just been married a couple years. Right here at 111th and Memorial, I found a builder named Rob Brewer who did a phenomenal job. I would hire him again. And this is a true story. So I built this house from scratch. And so my neighbor comes by, Wendy, God bless her. I'm not going to mention her last name. Wendy comes by and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I go, what do you mean? Because I'm having like 40 couples a week that are walking up to my front door, hanging a right at my office. And there's probably 8 DJ vans in my backyard. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm going, well, what do you mean what I do? She's like, this is a residential neighborhood. What are you doing? And I said, well, I'm running a business. She's like,
and stay there are the ones who have mastered the art of daily.
You can't run a business here. So I had back here in the backyard, no kidding, I had 8 different vans back there. And then neighbors kept asking me if I was running drugs. I mean, people were concerned because the first DJ would come to load up gear at 4 in the morning, and our last guy would come home at 3 in the morning. And it was just a wild thing. So I got to ask you with the gym, Amber, how early were people coming to work out, to do squats and bench press and cardio? What time were they showing up? How many people were showing up?
Oh, yeah. So Charles he's relentless and he'll fill any hour he can. And so he would start as early as 5 a.m. with his first client. And, sometimes it would last until about 10 o'clock at night. And so it was just a revolving door. And we always blocked out the middle of the afternoon at 2 o'clock every afternoon. And him and I, and as we added staff, we would all work out together. So it became this big, workout session together. It was awesome.
And this is a real thing. Now, Amber, I'm not looking for anything super salacious, but I mean, did you ever have awkward situations? I mean, because you're sleeping there, you're living there. Do you guys ever have just like, I remember with the DJ business, my wife about once a week there for a while, she would come downstairs and one of my DJs would get, Clay, where's the bathroom? I'd say, right there. And they would walk into our master bedroom and I'm like, get out of there. That's my bedroom, you sicko. I mean, did you ever have just weird client interactions?
Oh, yeah. Totally. From our kitchen became like the staff break room. And so all of a sudden I've got.
Because success is not built in a day. It's built in the daily choices you make when no one is paying attention. It's built in the early mornings.
Everybody's lunches in my fridge. And I remember one day a guy had went to get the barbecue sauce out of the fridge and just drops it. And it just shatters all over the kitchen floor, but his client was here. So he looks at me kind of like, and I was like, just go. I got so I'm cleaning up barbecue sauce out of the kitchen. One morning I had gotten out of the shower and I come out of the bathroom, which is at the top of the stairs. And I'm just making that short little jag over to my bedroom door. And so I have my hair in a towel and a robe on, and I open the door, and right there at the bottom of the stairs, Charles has one of the clients doing calf raises, and they just, good morning. And I thought, get this out of my house. So
Yeah.
the trainers napping on the couch between clients. And our middle son was in pre-K at the time. And so he'd come home half the day and he'd sit on the couch. He was just so little, his feet would just stick straight off the couch, and he'd try and watch cartoons. And there would be someone on like a ab mat on the floor right in front of the TV doing crunches.
That's right.
And so he's just watching his little cartoons as someone's doing crunches in front of him. And so, the whole family was in on it.
I just remember when I was building DJconnection.com, I would train my DJs out of my house. So we would practice announcements like, ladies and gentlemen, coming up in just a moment, we're going to introduce the bride and the groom. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the And we would practice, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, we're going to be cutting the cake. Once again, we got the bride, we got the groom, we got a knife. It should be exciting. And I'm practicing, and they have a script, and I'm practicing. So
The late nights, the extra effort that most people aren't willing to give. It's built in the decision to show up.
males are in my house, and we're practicing introducing, because we grew DJ Connection to do 4,000 weddings a year, so I'm training 30 disc jockeys every week. So Havana, my oldest, who's now 20, she starts running around in the office going, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, the cutting of the cake, because she had heard it so much. She's like, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, the Soul Train line. She knew, because it was like, and I don't think if you're watching today's show and these stories, you can't relate to it. That's okay, but I'm just trying to make sure we're getting this idea. This is a real couple that I would now classify as a super success story, but they had to start somewhere. And it's not about resourcefulness. It's not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. Again, it's not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. Look at the backyard. I turned half my backyard into a concrete slab so that we could park all the vans back here. I mean, look at all the trees I planted to block the view. So now you look at Koloff Fitness and you go, wow, this is a super successful company. Wow, I want to be the next Koloff Fitness. Wow, these guys are really doing it. I want to be a KoloffFitness.com. I'll get the website to pull up in just a second. And people always come to me and they say, Clay, what do I need to do? What's the most important thing? I just had a guy today, huge ministry, multi-million-dollar, massive ministry, called me and said, what's the one thing I can do to grow my ministry? And I said, buddy, I'm going to send you today's show. There are 14 things that we need to do and a lot of details on those 14. So we're going to go step by step on today's show. I'll go back and forth between Charles and Amber, and for sake of time, we'll just go back and forth rapid fire. So here we go. And Charles, by the way, you get 60 seconds on the clock for each answer. So here we go. Box number 1. Garland and this mind and this hat. So there it is. After your Oilers sold out, baby. Oh.
Even when you don't feel like it, to push through the resistance, to stick to the process. Excellence is not a feeling. It's not.
You have to figure out your revenue goals. You just have to know your revenue goals. You have to know your revenue goals. What are your gross revenue goals? What are your weekly revenue goals? What are your annual revenue goals? You have to know your revenue goals. Charles, why do you have to know your revenue goals?
Yes, you have to know your revenue goals, so you know if you're going to be making money or not. And for us, we want to make sure that we're staying bankable, that we can open more locations. Our gyms are a ministry for us. We want to make sure that we continue to expand and making sure we got at least a 20% profit margin off of all of our expenses to income over expenses. And we know how many memberships we have to sell. We know how many clients that we have to service to hit those goals for our set overhead costs. And so you got to know how many units of items you have to sell every week, every day. And so we track that stuff. And for us, we have
Natalie?
a lot of it's recurring revenue, but the whole point is we want to make sure that we have enough of the payable, viable buyers in the system to continue to grow.
And you track this stuff. And so, we've got wonderful members of our team. We've got a young member of our team named Natalie who's learning all of this because she's, developing into a coach. And when you work with a new client, a lot of times the client's going to have a bias to focus on just marketing, just branding, but you have to know these numbers. Amber, anything else you want to talk about as far as the numbers? Because I know your husband is passionate about fitness and you are as well, but why do you have to focus on the numbers and not just marketing or not just branding or not just social media? Why do you have to focus on those numbers?
Well, I think the numbers, it's like the steering wheel that steers the ship. I mean, if you don't understand
Something you chase. It's something you become through your daily habits. And here's the truth most people miss. Excellent
in the numbers, you have no idea where you're going. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. Like it leads the whole way. And I think a lot of people tend to do, I want to do the marketing, or I just want to perform the service. I think a lot of it because people are scared of numbers. I think they feel like numbers are overwhelming and they try to make numbers way too difficult. So I think that's the biggest.
This is such wisdom, folks. I'm telling you, if you're not familiar with colawfitness.com, go to their website. These guys give away a Bible. Every time they sell a new membership, they set aside a portion of the funds to give away a Bible to first-time members at their gym. It's it's a ministry, it's a business. It checks all those boxes. Let's move on to box number 3. Define the number of hours you're willing to work. Now, Amber, you happen to be married to a man who's willing to work every hour of the day if need be. I will say this, though. Most of my clients, if I had to think about my 160 clients I work with, and I had to think about the average client, 90% of them are not willing to work as hard as you guys. Most of my clients are willing to work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week. Some will work 60 hours a week, but nobody is willing to go sprint from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m., 10 p.m. every day if need be. Your husband is willing to do that. Why is it important for you guys, Charles, to define the hours that you're going to work, the hours that you're not going to work, block out time for the family cruise, for the family trip? Why is that an important box there, Charles?
Yeah.
That way, my wife will stay married to me. And well, I'm like you. I like to just
is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's not about getting it right every time. It's about showing up and giving your best effort every single day.
Go. And then we take off and we go to church on Sunday. It's important for us for us to hold the Sunday as a Sabbath, as a day off. Other than that, I like to work. I like you talked about vacation, to vacate or to leave something. I love to work. I love to build the systems and build the documents and train staff, build the systems and so on. But we do have to make sure that once a quarter we try to look at taking time off. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I would say the biggest thing that we always talk about in marriage, family, and work, expectations and boundaries. Those two things have to be very clear all the time. So as long as he understands what my expectations are and I need him to fulfill a husband role in addition to working, as long as he understands that these are my expectations and then these are my boundaries. And as long as we communicate that, then we're good.
I'll say one more thing is that for us, we've kind of at the spot to where, we just work on the business, not in the business. So we don't actually do the day-to-day stuff, but we work on the business systems, checklists, workflows, training, coaching people remotely because we do live in Florida. Our clubs are in the Midwest, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, and Kansas. And so running remotely and running all that stuff, we've got to kind of say, how do we want to live our lives? Like you'd say, Charles, how do you really want to live it? You got to kind of map out and clearly define that. For us, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those days are just all in on Zoom calls, training, coaching, working with staff. And so those days are really, really full days. And then the rest of the time, like on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
It's about having a standard for yourself that is non-negotiable. A mindset that says, I don't lower my standards to match.
Monday, those are all lighter days that we don't block in a lot of meetings. It's like no meetings that we plan. But I'm still working on things that I want to work on, but I'm not leveraged to having to. So I've kind of created my 3-day work week that's like super long. And then the rest of the time I don't have meetings. I don't get held hostage on a lot of stuff, and people have to kind of have a gatekeeper to get to me. But other than that, that's how I've tried to map that out so that I can continue to mastermind and kind of grow the brand and have some meta perspective on how I want to continue to grow. So
there's so much. Again, for folks, if you want to learn entrepreneurship, this is real people. If you're in the Florida area and you're looking for a job, if you're in the Joplin, Missouri area and you're looking for a career, not just a job, Koloff Fitness is a company that's going places. I'm not prophetic. I'm not claiming to have some view of the future. I just see patterns. And I work with clients and I help them implement patterns that work. And I also know of the clients that'll work. Nothing works unless you work, right? So nothing will work unless you work. And I look at the Koloff family and I look at the fuel that you put into the business and the diligence that you bring. And I'm telling you, folks, this is a brand that's going somewhere. If you're looking for a career, check it out, kolofffitness.com. Box number 4 and 5, these kind of fit in together. Box number 4 is you have to determine your unique value proposition. That's a unique thing. What is it that makes you unique? What is it that separates you from the competition? If you're watching today's show, let's think about your website, your print piece, your auto wraps, your business cards. Let's think about everything about your business. Let's think about the sights, the sounds, the smell, the ambiance, the employees you have. What is it that makes you different from the competition?
The world. I raise my standards to shape the world. When you develop the habit of daily excellence, success becomes inevitable. You stop chasing.
What is it that makes Chick-fil-A successful when there are many other fast food chicken restaurants? What is it that makes Quick Trip super successful when there are so many gross, nasty, dirty convenience stores? What is it that makes Chick-fil-A successful? What is it that makes Quick Trip successful? What is it? What is the secret sauce that allows Brad Stevens, the coach of the Boston Celtics, to bring out a winning lineup year after year? Brad Stevens took a dysfunctional Butler College basketball team and turned them into a top 4 basketball team. Think about this. He took a college called Butler, the size of Oral Roberts University, and took them to the Final Four multiple times. And then he takes that same recipe and goes to the NBA, and they win a championship, and he's putting out a winner year after year. What is the secret sauce that allowed Phil Jackson to win year after year? Michael Jordan couldn't win a championship without Phil Jackson. He played a lot of seasons without Phil Jackson. He only won his championships with Phil. Kobe Bryant never won a championship without Phil Jackson. By the way, Kobe Bryant played a lot of seasons without Phil Jackson. What is that magic formula? A big part of it is you have to understand your unique value proposition. So, Amber, what is it that makes Koloff Fitness unique versus other, fitness companies?
For us, it's culture, hands down. It's culture all day long. And we worked really hard at our first location to set the culture and make it what we wanted it to be. We wanted a fitness center that everybody could come be a part of. And I mean, not everybody likes it. But it's definitely our culture. And that was something we knew.
Results, and you start attracting them. You stop relying on motivation and you start running on discipline. You stop waiting for.
We had to be able to duplicate when opening other locations. And so that is probably the number one piece that we train, develop, encourage, that we're the biggest part of the company that we are still a part of is the culture part.
Yep. And that's the big, I'm going to just kind of jump on a little bit more. We're unapologetic in our Christian component to that. Think if Planet Fitness is the McDonald's of gyms, Koloff Fitness is the Chick-fil-A. And what I mean by that is we are a strong Christian culture. We hire and we look for people that match that. They don't have to be a Christian, but they do have to align with those values. All of Christianity summed up in one word is the word agape. That's an unconditional love. We want to make sure that we actually hire people that are into customer service, like likes people. Serving. Who'd have thought customer service? We're going to find people that actually like to serve people. And so we really vet that pretty heavily on the front side, on the onboarding. With our, like our Christian culture, we play a video, we talk about who we are, we talk about the Christian values, devotion to God, discipline in living, denial of self, dream great dreams for God's glory, determination to stay this course. So the Christian side of it is kind of strong. So either people lean in or lean back. And so when we do group interviews, this is where you've taught us a lot of great systems. You see people lean in and see people lean back. So when everybody's on the boat rowing in the same direction, and they really match that value set, the culture is just better. And when you hire people that actually like people, they want to acknowledge your presence, close the gap, give them a fist bump, a high five, make somebody feel like the highlight of the day. when they walk through that door. So we train people.
Right moment, and you start creating momentum through consistent action. So the question is, how do you build the mindset, the habits, and the systems
On those systems. So we took the culture that we did when we first opened the club, and we defined it into actual ways that we can role play and script it with our staff, so that you have not a purple hair McDonald's perpetually distracted crayon tattoo person. You have a person, opposed to like a McDonald's, somebody that runs up to your car like a Chick-fil-A, that's you got their polo on and says my pleasure. So that's where we have to be very, very, very specific on how we do culture differently than the competition, who's just, scaling out like crazy.
Yeah.
But people, like, the greatest currency in life is how you make somebody else feel. We want to make other people feel like the highlight of the day, and hire people that are sincere, they're just genuine, that truly like people. If you do that well, you have to lock the doors to keep people out.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, folks, this is so important. I talked to a guy the other day who applied to work for your business, true story. And he's kind of a gremlin. I know him because he didn't get hired by a friend of mine. And so a friend of mine's like, hey, I didn't hire this guy. He's kind of a gremlin. I said, what do you mean gremlin? He's like, yeah, he's just kind of a curmudgeon, kind of a negative guy, Debbie Downer. And, he's got a big background in fitness, though. And he's into fitness, and he played at, sports at a high level, and he'd love to come work for you, Clay. And I go, okay. And he's like, yeah, I guess he applied for the co-law guys a couple years ago, didn't get the job. And I'm going, interesting. And I knew that and I met the guy. I'm like, this guy, I understand why you didn't hire him, and I didn't hire him either. And I'm just telling you, you have certain standards. And if people aren't up to those standards, they can come back and reapply later after they turn that frown upside down. But you have a certain standard there. Now, box number 6, the three-legged marketing stool.
that create excellence every day? How do you train yourself to operate at a higher standard automatically?
Law Fitness, with every business we work with, every business that I work with, what we do is we develop a three-legged marketing stool. Now, I'll give you a moment, Charles and Amber, to reflect on this, and maybe this is true for you, maybe not. But a lot of my clients that come into my life, I think about Stacy Purcell, longtime client, great lady. I think about Shaw Homes, shawhomes.com. We helped Shaw Homes grow from $14 million a year to $150 million a year. I think about satellite phones. Tina, her company Sat123. We've helped them grow to $100 million a year of sales. I think about OxyFresh, oxifresh.com. We've helped them grow now to 500 plus locations. And every single time I sit down with a business owner, they have not a three-legged marketing stool. No. They have a variety of things that might work. And through tracking, we start to figure out what doesn't work. And so with Stacy Purcell, with her wonderful business, we found out that LinkedIn didn't work 100% of the time, thus saving her $8,000 a month by turning it off. I just had a client this week, true story. We found he was spending $4,000 a week on YouTube ads, Instagram ads, and TikTok ads. Got a lot of clicks, got a lot of views, no leads. Another client, I'm just stream of consciousness. Another client of mine, they were doing mailers, getting zero response. Another client of mine was doing billboards to the tune of $6,000 a month between all their locations. And as you look at the different businesses and you track, you can really, really become much more profitable by nailing down a three-legged marketing stool. Could you talk about that, Amber? Maybe the impact it's had or hasn't had, tracking the results, getting rid of what doesn't work and focusing on what does work?
Until it becomes who you are. That's exactly what we're going to cover. Not theories, not vague ideas, but real practical habits that you can apply immediately.
Yeah, well, I would say none of that is my part of the business. And I'm so thankful. I hate marketing, but what I would say to that is that has everything to do with, like we were talking about, your numbers and the tracking. So you're talking about tracking these things. That's my side, the financial side. And I want to know that when the money's going out, that return is coming back, right? And so I do that side of it we talk about a marketing budget and watching that and holding true to that and watching those numbers and watching, the revenue that comes back from that marketing. And so you may be able to talk more on the marketing. That's your...
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we've tracked where they come from. Sometimes you do get clicks, or you do have, like, sometimes Facebook shows you're making, but it's really not getting people to walk through the door and convert people into members and convert people into higher ticket items. And so you really want to make sure that what you're spending money on is actually quantifying out into dollars. And so Clay's really been good with us to track that. We've done that for years. And so we can really kind of see in our industry, we market, in a 5 mile radius, really heavy. That's kind of our ideal and likely buyers within that 5 mile radius or a 12-minute drive time. We target those. We see what marketing works best. And a lot of times it's the same proven stuff that Clay teaches with a lot of his clients, is really seeing to making sure that you're dominating on certain platforms. And I can go into that. But the whole point is Clay has done it in every industry. And when we follow the system, track it correctly, we can monetize our marketing dollars a whole lot better. And so there's
habits that have been tested and proven, habits that will rewire your mind, sharpen your focus, and elevate.
There's ways you want to get in front of your ideal and likely buyer. We make sure we got the right product offering in front of the right ideal and likely buyer. And the things that Clay's been doing with his clients over the last 7 years with us, it doesn't change much. There's a few little things that adjust, but it's a proven system, and that's what works. And we've done that. We've gone from 3 locations to 6, and we've more than doubled our revenue.
Right.
So it's been a huge win.
Well, I think sometimes people want to market in a certain way because that's the cool thing to do. Like, I want to be on TikTok.
Right.
If TikTok doesn't pay me, if TikTok is not, if it's not paying my bills, I could care less.
Yeah.
I mean, I can watch TikTok on my off time, but I'm not going to put my marketing dollars into it just because that's what everybody else is doing. And I think another part of that is everybody has marketing advice for you. Everybody thinks they're some marketing guru, because they see ads, and I don't think that's true either.
Now, I'm going to ask this, Charles, and I'm not ready for your answer yet. I got to mentally prepare myself for this, but you do not have the ability to not be honest here. Okay. So, a guy called me here today, and I thought, man, I'm going to send this to him right away. Okay. Guy reaches out to me. He's in the construction space. Okay. And he goes, this happens every day, by the way, but he says, what would a relationship look like if I hired you guys as my coach? If I hired you, Clay, and your team, what does that look like? And I said, well, we charge you $1,700 a month. So it's less money than hiring a minimum wage employee. That's what it is. We have a weekly meeting, and we follow a proven system. And anyway, and I said,
My name is Taylor Hall. I'm the general manager of the Tulsa Oilers professional hockey team. Our goal every night here,
your performance. Excellence is not a destination. It's not a result. It's a way of being. And once you learn how to master it,
we know there's accountability. There's so there's kind of 3 parts to it. One is we have a team that helps you get your photography, your video, your web, your search engine done for you, all those things. The second is we provide coaching down a proven path, and then the third is we have workshops every couple months so you can kind of get a tune-up. And I said, Mr. Client, Mr. Potential Client, who I've known forever, I said, Clay Stairs describes me as the ass man, and he's like, the ass man. Ooh. And I said, yeah, Clay Stairs, longtime client of mine. He's been a client of mine for like 15 years. He literally tells people that I'm his ass man. And they go, what? Right. He goes, Clay has helped me grow my company, claystairs.com. He's helped me get into political office. But he kind of is like an irritant who follows up on the same things every week until they get done. So I wanted to ask you, Charles, how would you describe what the coaching relationship looks like for somebody out there that's saying, what is it like to work with, specifically me and my team?
Well, to shoot you straight, I mean, Clay's highest desire isn't always your comfort in that coaching. His highest desire is your continued development, that you do hit your goals for financial. And a good coach, think of a good coach. A good coach tells you what you need to hear, because he doesn't just care about the comfort in the room or the comfort of the conversation. He cares about your character development, your personal development, to becoming the better leader. And if you want to run a great company, you have to be a great leader. You have to be the avatar. You have to be the great person. And Clay's really pushed that in me. And for me, like, I thought I've always needed that. And I was just like, okay, Charles, stay humble, stay coachable. And that's the biggest thing is most business owners, they don't have the ability to keep a humble, coachable heart and be willing to grow. When you work with somebody that has a proven system, they've worked in every
single day, you'll separate yourself from the crowd. The first habit of daily excellence is mastering your mornings.
Industry. They've got a team of videographers, graphic designers, web developers, people that will help you build the back end of your business correctly. The proven systems of continuous hiring of staff, team, like group hiring, that you always have staff ready to go. Somebody in the bullpen, so I'll take it. You always have continuous training, staff. You've never held hostage because there's somebody that doesn't know a skill set. You can always replace somebody. Because if you don't create a system, you're going to be a limited resource. And Clay creates the systems, helps you with document creation, file organization, and make sure you got that stuff so you have a proven template. It's really more like a franchisable prototype that you can handle the lowest skill set. So great people are great, but Clay's been really good at shooting me straight. If you have a humble, coachable heart and you're willing to grow and you take 2 or 3 action items every week, next thing you know, 50 weeks, 52 weeks in a year, you've got a bunch of systems, you got a way better website, you got checklists, workflows, you got staff following systems, you got backup for each position. Because if you don't have people in the bullpen, you're going to be held hostage. And so you want to make sure that you got the right systems, checklists, and personnel ready to go. And to run 6 different businesses in 4 different states, from Florida in the Midwest, so we don't live there, we have to have good systems, checklists, workflows, and so on, and making sure people are holding to that. Clay's been really great for helping set up those systems. So yeah, but it's to be honest, it's not always. The conversations are definitely sometimes challenging, but understanding that both parties, me as the client, him as the coach, is really trying to have the highest desire to make you grow into a better person and to help your company grow and be better. And for me, that's a good coach. And that's why I like working with Thrive and Clay. So, yeah.
Amber, I wanted to tap into your wisdom on this. There was a statement that was made years ago by Robert Kiyosaki.
The way you start your day determines the way you live your day. If you begin with discipline, focus, and purpose, those qualities will carry into everything else you do.
It really resonated with me. I heard this about 20 years ago, but he said, amateurs don't have a coach. Professionals do have a coach. And at the time I thought, you know what, from a legal perspective, I probably need a coach or mentor to help me. So I hired wintersking.com, and I've used that company for 10 plus years. It's really helped me. I thought to myself, from an accounting perspective, I need probably to have her a coach. So I hired CCK. And so in the areas where I want to improve, I really do firmly believe in having a coach. When I wanted to become a better speaker, I hired Carlton Pearson, and I worked with Carlton for as long as he would work with me, because at the time he was the top televangelist in America, and he was a phenomenal verbal communicator. And so, but it wouldn't have worked if I wasn't coachable and if he wasn't willing to coach. And you guys have done such a great job over these years implementing, and I just see the future is so bright here. So when we look at your website now, could you talk about just that weekly meeting and making those little iterations, and every week making it a little better? Because I think some people want to get rich quick. They want to become successful in 10 minutes. They want to ready, set, let's go. But you guys, every week we go to colafitness.com. Every week we enhance the website. Every week we enhance the scripts. Every week we enhance the value proposition. Every week we're doing little tweaks that are improving the brand. Could you talk about that mindset of that weekly improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, your numbers, you have to have good feedback tools, some key performance KPIs or key performance things you look at for sales over cancellations and how much dollars you're spending on marketing. When we track that on a regular basis, we can see that we're doing.
But if you start in a reactive state, hitting snooze, rushing through the morning, you
well or not doing well. We make pivots. We get coaching feedback from you on best practices. And one thing is that you've not just worked in our industry, but lots of industries, and having a team of people, a team of coaches that say, hey, this is what's working, this is what's working. It's super valuable. Mm-hmm. And so, like I mean, I've got an MBA in school, but I'm telling you, like, it's real life is so much more important, and having good people that have good feelers. It's like you're only as good as your team, and Clay brings a whole team to your team. And anyways, we have a weekly meeting. Our weekly meeting, we look at like, what are the key things that impact us? It's going to be signups over cancels. What are those signups? Which ones upgraded to higher tier options, whether that's membership, higher tier membership options, or whether that's tiering up into higher services like fitness coaching, like one-on-one coaching, or fitness training, or nutrition coaching, or group training. But getting people into those things and understanding the scripts, how to role play that over and over again, making sure your staff understands how to communicate effectively with the customer, role play until that socially awkward, young person can totally get it, and they understand how to do it, until the critical thinking phase has gone away. They know how to do it. Now you got staff that knows how to communicate well, how to show the product offering, benefits over cost, and then show them that, hey, if you don't do it, this is what won't happen. And you want to show them that you're going to really change their lives and save their life, add years to life, quality to your years by changing new habits. And when people see that value, you've got the right staff articulating it, you close a lot of deals, you upgrade things, and you change a lot of lives.
Well,
Set yourself up for distraction, procrastination, and inconsistency. Excellence begins before the world wakes up. It begins when you...
One thing, Clay, I think with the coaching is it's been beneficial. It's kind of like you're our blind side or a blind spot coach. This is what we've created. There's a lot of emotions attached to it. It's what we love. It's what feeds our family. And so we can become very emotionally charged. And I think you're super helpful to kind of bring us back in and go, hey, so you kind of keep us focused, separating the emotions from it. And I've heard a lot of people say to you, or, in conversations we'll have, and they'll say, yeah, but you don't understand landscaping. It's not about understanding landscaping. We don't talk fitness every week when we meet. But it's about, it's about business, and it's about where we're going. And you really help keep us on track. There's that accountability, like you talked about.
You guys are just
super valuable. Your set of eyes is super valuable.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I mean, colawfitness.com. If you're looking for a career, folks, I'm telling you, check out colawfitness.com. Now, point number 7, sales conversion. We have to have scripts, recorded calls, one sheets, lead trackers. What? We need to have sales scripts, recorded calls, all the visuals in the store. We call that internal marketing. There's external marketing, marketing to your ideal and likely buyers, but internal marketing, letting your current gym members know that you offer personal training or group fitness. Box number 8, you have to have a sustainable customer acquisition cost. What? You have to know, what does it cost you to land a new customer? Box number 9, you've got to create repeatable systems. When you clean the bathrooms every day, when you clean the showers every day, when you clean the locker rooms every day, when you clean the equipment every day, when you clean all these...
Take control of the first moments of your day. Because if you can win the morning, you can win the day.
Multiple times a day. When you change the light bulbs every day, when you have to maintain the fitness equipment every day, when you have to hire people every day, you have to build repeatable systems or your head will explode. You got to have checklists and processes. Box number 11, you have to manage people. Manage people. What? This just in. We have to manage people. You got to hire people, manage people. How do you hire, inspire, train, retain? We have to do it. Box number 11, you have to build a sustainable schedule. What is the schedule that your company will keep? What hours will you be open? What kind of shifts do you have? What kind of org chart? Who's in charge? Who isn't? How do you deal with somebody that doesn't want to follow the systems? Because this just in, a customer will fire you if you won't fire your bad employees. In box number 12, you got to have a high standard with the A players, the B players. You got to coach up the B players to become A players. You got to coach those A players to become future leaders. You got to coach the C players out into another job or to the local bus station. You got to get them out of your life or they will ruin your business. And then box number 13, you got to make sure you're making money. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. Box number 14, you have to sit down every day and say, what does God want me to do? If every day is a gift, what does God want me to do? If every day is a gift from God, what does God want me to do with my faith, my family, my finances, my fitness, my friendship, my fun, my focused time? What does God want me to do with this day? That's all these things we have to think about there. And I'm telling you, folks, everything we're talking about on today's show, it wouldn't matter if Kolaw Fitness was not obsessed with wowing the customers. Charles Kolaw and Amber Kolaw are obsessed with helping you take your fitness to the next level. If you're out there today and you are in Joplin, Missouri, you're in Texas, you are in all the different markets they're in, go to kolawfitness.com. You can see the markets they're in.
The key is not just waking up early, it's how you wake up. The best performers in the world wake up with intention. They start their day with purpose, not by accident. Before they do.
And I'm telling you, these guys are obsessed with wowing customers. So I'll go to you, Amber, then I'll go to you, Charles. Everything we talked about doesn't work if you scam your customers. Everything we talked about doesn't matter if you don't wow your customers. Could you talk about why at the core, even though we're going over all this business stuff, all these details, at the end of the day, you guys at Kolaw Fitness have to wow the customers. Why is that so important, Amber?
Well, I think for us, it's important because we love people, and everybody needs a belonging and worth, and they need to feel important, and they need to feel cared for. And that's our passion. We just love loving on people. That's what made Charles such a phenomenal trainer when that was the initial start of the whole company. It was just his desire to help people and his love for them. And that was the same reason, a million years ago that I did hair. So I think for us, that's just what we're passionate about. We're passionate about people feeling like they are loved and they have value. And if we can pass that on through all of our front desk staff, if we can open more locations and bring in that many more people in these communities to feel loved, and, excuse me, and also spread the gospel at the same time, let them know God loves you, and so that's really what drives our passion in the coaching and development, even of our staff.
Now, Charles Cole, I got 2 final questions for you, and your wife can one up you. So here we go. 2 final questions.
Sir, yes,
There's
sir,
somebody
yes,
out
sir.
there right now, they're thinking about coming to one of our in-person workshops.
Anything else, they prime their mind for excellence. Some use affirmations, some journal, some meditate.
Know Tim Tebow's going to be there. They know Eric Trump will be there. They know that you might be there. But maybe if they haven't been to a workshop in the past, how would you describe the in-person 2-day interactive workshops? How would you describe them, sir?
It's raw and real. I mean, if you really want to if you really, really, really want to build a company, not just get like if you go to school, you get a business degree, they would say Clay's program is, business without the BS. There's no bull crap. He tells you the proven system, real proven systems that have grown and scaled hundreds, if not thousands of companies, add millions, we are millions of dollars more in revenue because of these systems that we've implemented. And we've been able to scale and not have to actually work in the business. We work on the business, just the business system. So we can live in Florida. We're definitely engaged with our staff that runs these locations, and they're great lieutenants. But we have the systems, we have the checklists, we've got the workflows, and we have the systems that we can hold people to. We've retained the right talent. We've got really people in the bullpen for every position, so they aren't held hostage to having to do that. But all that to say, it's funny. He's very, Clay's pretty much like a comedian. It's hilarious to listen to. If you're willing to be coachable, if you're willing to have a humble and coachable heart that's willing to grow, he'll show you proven processes. There's going to be a pathway that you can be successful. And if you're a diligent doer and you just do 1 or 2 action items every week with your coach, the whole thing is it's just being more of a marathoner than a sprinter when you're working with a coach.
Some move their body to wake up their physiology. But they all have one thing in common. They control their first thoughts, their first actions, and their first priority.
Do your 2 or 3 action items, and that 2 or 3, if you times that by 52 weeks, that's 150. Next time, you got a way better website, you got a way better lead funnel, you got way better staff hired, you've got systems, checklists, workflows, all document created into mind-freeing templates, sales flows, training and development of staff, all that. So you got people in the bullpen for each position, and you're no longer being held hostage as an owner, and you've got a proven system. So that's Clay and his team.
Well,
so,
I'll one up you. I will one up him this one time. Like there's truly nothing more exciting than to come to the conference. And we've been to almost every conference you've had for the last 7 to 8 years. And it is completely refreshing. I always get something new out of it. It's very practical. You're not sitting in this huge like ballroom with want speakers that you feel like are trying to sell you something and you're trying to stay awake. And that's not the case at all. It's kind of a circus with a whole lot of, there's a whole lot to take home. Even if you go to the conference and you decide, hey, this is not for me right now, or coaching is not for me, hands down, you will leave with practical business application items.
Now, final question I have for you guys. Just like Koloff Fitness, I mean, you put your name right there on the brand Koloff Fitness. You can't really go to thrivetimeshow.com without seeing my cranium. And so I take a lot of pride in what I do and wowing our customers. But for somebody out there in particular,
if you want to master daily excellence, your mornings must be non-negotiable.
this guy today who's in the construction space who's like, hey, what would coaching look like for me? Or is coaching for me? He's reaching out. Charles, what do you say? What kind of impact has the coaching that we've had with you guys over these past 7 or 8 years made on the impact or the success? Or what kind of impact has the coaching made on kolofffitness.com?
Well, I'm going to say first off, personally, I've developed a great friendship with some really great people. And I thought that's been huge for me. So that's personally. And to know people that are in the same type of pressure that you have as running a company, running a business, to have people that are intelligent and they care as a friend, that is huge. That's the number one personally. And then professionally, to have a whole bullpen of a whole data set of lots of different industries, best practices, whether that's, generally it's either a sales issue, like you don't have enough sales, or then it's a staffing issue, you don't have the right staff, or whether it's a scaling it, how do I, build this into a franchisable prototype? It's all stuff that they've done over and over and over again. And to where you have like a cognitive dissonance, like a mental disease with understanding it, they don't. And when you have somebody that gives you peace because it is something they've done before, it's priceless. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I would say that, we're talking about, it hasn't just affected us in our business, but it has affected us in our personal life too, because all of these things that you learn can be rolled over into your personal life.
Yeah.
So that's been huge. And like Charles was talking about, the connections that we've made with other business owners. Clay, you said at the very first conference we went to, your network is your network.
At the BOK Center is to try to fill the seats with lots of people and create an exciting environment.
You must create a routine that strengthens your mindset, energizes your body, and focuses your attention on what matters most. Even 10 minutes of focused morning practice can...
Amen.
That is hands down. If you're hanging out with the old friends that have unsuccessful businesses, and you're hanging out with the old people who are complaining about having to work an 8-hour day, if you're spending your time with them and, it's just going to break the bank to go to Chili's for dinner, that you're going to stay there. You're going to stay in that influence of people. And every conference we meet new people, and we've got some of the most awesome friends that own businesses across the country, from the cheesecake store to a pizza shop, right? To dog training, to we've got some of our friends that live in cities that we have gyms, and they're members at our clubs.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so powerful. It gives us a whole community to bounce ideas off of and get encouragement from.
Charles, from an ROI perspective, if someone's going to look at it and go, return on investment, I pay you $1,700 a month. Will I make more money than I'm paying you? How would you maybe tackle, or how would you respond to, what kind of return on investment have you seen for the $1,700 a month you're paying?
Well, for example, Clay has got, there's no better business coach in the world that has the way he works, the way his mind works. But he's also got a team of other business coaches that have worked in lots of different industries. So he's worked in every industry. His staff has worked in every industry. He's got videographers, web designers. Just for the fact of like just the website alone is worth the $1,700. Just the ability to take any of their
rewire your brain and shift your entire day. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel.
Systems, whether that's a marketing thing or whether that's a staffing thing, like one thing done in the month it pays for itself. And then to understand this, there's a part of where, some week you may be like, well, you know what? I'm not getting a whole lot out of this call. But the bottom line is, it's like when you read the Bible, there's times you're just reading it and then you're like, you know what? And then you read it that one time and it's like, God really speaks to your heart. And the whole truth is, it's like, there's no way that you can get that kind of value for $1,700 to have a whole team of coaches, graphic designers, web developers, anybody that has that type of knowledge, in your back pocket. And the whole thing is run your business with being somewhat conservative. Make sure you don't run it to the edge all the time. But by doing that, you have that skill set. You have those tools on your tool belt.
Yep.
And I just think it's just like the cost of doing business. Like just understand it. That's what
I think sometimes the payment we make, I feel like, is peace of mind, even because there have been multiple times throughout the years that we will either be butting heads on something. We're super confused about something. We're fearful about something in the market's changed, and it's a quick call to Clay. And so that quick call to Clay, and he's outside the situation and he has other data points. We've had times that Clay, you got a quick response and you can tell us and direct us real quickly, and we're right off the phone. And there's other times you'll go, I'll call you right back. And Clay will jump.
Like doing it. They wait for motivation to get up early. They wait until they have the energy to start strong. But that's not how excellence works. If you wait to feel ready, you'll stay stuck in the same pattern.
And he'll call his other contacts and get back with us. Sometimes it takes longer, but there are times when you feel that way, when you're like, is this worth it? You know, I don't feel like we're doing much right now, or we're not growing. Inevitably something like that'll come up, and like, that's our peace of mind. Like you're like a crucial team player, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's an honor to serve you guys, and for everybody's watching right now, I encourage you, if you're looking for a career. Now, if you're looking for a job, don't fill out the form, but if you're looking for a career, go to colawfitness.com, because if you live in Joplin, Missouri, Charles, Dallas, Texas, Bartlesville, Oklahoma, Amber, we live in Topeka, Kansas. If you're out there, Arlington, if you're out there, go to colawfitness.com if you're looking for a career and not just a job. Thank you, too, for carving out time with your busy schedule. And I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Clay.
Thank you, Clay.
Awesome.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening on June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear it?
Instead, you train yourself to wake up and move, no matter how you feel.
A business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here, because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshop.
Simplest but most powerful habits is getting up as soon as your alarm goes off. The moment you hit snooze, you are training your mind to procrastinate. You are conditioning.
So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where
yourself to break commitments. And that carries into everything else you do. But if you make waking up immediate,
business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th. Yep. It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets?
a rule, no debate, no delay. You build the habit of instant execution. When you start your day with discipline, you carry that discipline into your
available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket.
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You know, you could be at a startup phase or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds, pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2, who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250 or whatever you can afford. Sean.
Work, your goals, your decisions. When you start your day with focus, you train your brain to filter out
How do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. And right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, and inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got fire breathers, and man, people are so excited as they come in.
The conference is kicked off. When you start your day with energy, you perform at a higher level in everything you do. Success does not start with big achievements. It starts.
This house is packed. We've got Eric Antis with Shaw Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lindy Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store. Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. And I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible. Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun, melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome.
With small, intentional choices. And if you can master your mornings, you'll gain control over the rest of your day.
The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. And there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on...
When somebody comes to a game, they want to come back. Working with Clay and the staff at Thrive, they've really helped us in many, many ways. Website.
The second habit of daily excellence is controlling your focus. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on problems,
expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. You know, that's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them. And I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15.
You create more stress. If you focus on distractions, you waste time and energy. But if you direct your attention,
leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us. And it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten
toward growth, execution, and results, your actions will align with success. Most people never train their focus.
In a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's...
They wake up with good intentions, but by the end of the day, they wonder where their time went. Excellence doesn't work that way.
thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us.
Requires deliberate control over what gets your attention. The people who dominate in life are not necessarily smarter or more talented. They simply know.
We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 investment. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental.
How to eliminate distractions and lock in on what matters. They don't let the outside world dictate their priorities. They don't allow
mental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? people rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
We went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodward Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help. And
Every message, every request, or every interruption to pull them away from their mission. You must train your mind to focus like a laser. And the best way to do this is by
the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 4.
setting clear rules for your attention. Block out time for deep work. Protect your focus as if it were the
14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place.
most important thing in your life, because it is. Excellence is built in the moments when you choose discipline.
Of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. My rich dad was one of those persons. You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view.
Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let
over distraction. Every time you say no to something meaningless and say yes to your mission, you reinforce the habit of
you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.
Graphic design and video production and a lot of things that go along. And a lot of businesses, including ours, doesn't have a staff or a full-time,
concentration. Distractions don't just waste time. They drain energy. Every time you switch tasks, your brain has to recalibrate. It takes effort to refocus. This is why most people feel exhausted at the end of the day, even if they didn't accomplish much. They spent the day jumping from one thing to the next, never fully locked in. The highest performers operate differently. They create blocks of deep, uninterrupted work. They train their brain to stay on one task for extended periods. And as a result, they get more done in a few focused hours than most people do in an entire day. If you want to rewire your mind for excellence, you must learn to guard your focus. Start by removing the biggest sources of distraction in your life. Control your environment. Be ruthless with your time. And most importantly, develop the discipline to keep your attention on one thing at a time. The third habit of daily excellence is mastering your self-discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. The people who win in life are the ones who can make themselves do what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like it. Most people rely on motivation. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait until the conditions are perfect. They wait until they're
videographer or a graphic designer. But the biggest thing that we noticed was the needle mover. More sales, more attendance, more successes in business. We had a record year last season working with Clay.
In the mood. And that's why they stay stuck, because motivation is temporary. It's unpredictable. It comes and goes. But discipline, that's permanent. That's something you build. Discipline is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And just like a muscle, if you don't use it, it weakens. Every time you make an excuse, every time you procrastinate, every time you let yourself off the hook, you make that muscle weaker. But every time you follow through, every time you push yourself, every time you keep a commitment, you strengthen it. The secret to building discipline is to eliminate negotiation. Most people lose the battle before they even start because they allow their mind to negotiate. Should I go to the gym or take the day off? Should I work on my goals or relax? Should I do it now or later? That back and forth drains your energy. It gives your mind an opportunity to find an excuse. The best performers don't negotiate with themselves. They don't wait for motivation. They don't ask how they feel. They don't debate whether they should follow through. They just do it because it's who they are, because they've trained themselves to act automatically. Discipline is about making a decision once and then never debating it again. If you decide you're the kind of person who wakes up
for the first time, our average attendance is higher than it's ever been. So there was a lot of really cool things that we did.
And early, then there's no discussion when the alarm goes off. If you decide you're the kind of person who works out daily, then it's non-negotiable. If you decide you're the kind of person who follows through on commitments, then it doesn't matter how you feel in the moment. The easiest way to build discipline is to start with small daily commitments. Even something as simple as making your bed, drinking water first thing in the morning, or sticking to a set routine. Because every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you train your mind to follow through. And that carries over into bigger decisions, bigger goals, and bigger results. Discipline isn't about doing things perfectly. It's about doing them consistently. Some days will be harder than others. Some days, the last thing you want to do is stick to the plan. But that's when it matters most. That's when you build the kind of discipline that separates you from everyone else. The fourth habit of daily excellence is developing relentless consistency. Most people start strong, but very few stay consistent. They get excited. They commit to new habits. They feel unstoppable. But then something happens. Life gets in the way. Their energy dips. They miss a day, then 2, then 3. And before they know it, they're back to square one. Excellence isn't about what you do.
Worked. That's the nice thing about working with Clay and the team over there. It's just not one person. You get the entire team. If you need video design and editing and production, they've got that. If you need
once in a while. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. It's better to do something small every single day than to go all out for a week and then quit. The highest performers in the world aren't the ones who go the hardest in short bursts. They are the ones who show up day after day, no matter what. Consistency is the foundation of everything great. Success in any area, fitness, business, personal growth, relationships, comes down to your ability to keep showing up, even when the motivation is gone, even when the results aren't immediate, even when no one else is watching. Most people fail because they expect results too quickly. They work hard for a few weeks, but when they don't see instant progress, they assume it's not working. But that's not how success happens. Growth isn't linear. The results don't come right away. They compound over time. And if you quit too soon, you never reach the breakthrough. The people who achieve excellence understand this. They don't stop just because they don't see results right away. They keep going. They trust the process. They know that consistency creates momentum, and momentum leads to massive transformation. The key to relentless consistency is removing the decision-making process. When something is optional, it becomes negotiable. But when it's a must, it gets done, no matter what. You don't wake up and wonder if you should brush